Good evening. The Concord Township Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for July 14th is now in session. I would like to introduce the board. To my far left is Skip Sweeney. I'm Ivan Valentic. To my right is Todd Goling and Blair Hamilton. To my far right is Heather Freeman, our zoning inspector. Under the advice of council, we ask that anyone speaking tonight must be sworn in. So if you plan on speaking at all tonight, even though you think you might not, just please stand up and raise your right hand. All right. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help me God. If so, say I do. Thank you. Please be seated. This evening, when presenting your case or commenting, come to the microphone, state your name and address, and confirm for the record that you've been sworn in, okay? Heather, were the legal notices published in a timely manner?
Yes, they were.
All right. We have two old items on old business and 6 new items this evening, appeals and conditional use permits. A 3-vote majority is required to either approve or deny an appeal. As you can see tonight, we have 4 members. We don't have 5, but it's a 3-vote majority is still required, correct? All right. With that being said, the first is our old business, which is appeal number 2018-41, Randy Viviani of 7757 Concord LLC. This is an appeal that's been on the docket for a while and has continued to be tabled for this evening. Next is variance number 2021-A2. John Nekich is requesting a variance from section 15.03A2, which states that accessory buildings shall not be constructed on vacant lots and shall only be located on lots with the principal building for the property located at 7030 Ravenna Road, current permanent parcel number 08-A-0-0-0-0-065-0. Second variance is requested from section 15.03A6, table 15.03-1, to allow the accessory building to be 6,600 square feet in lieu of the maximum 1,532 square feet permitted. Third variance is requested from section 15.04B, table 15.04-1, to allow the accessory building to exceed the maximum 20 feet height permitted. Mr. Nekich, are you here to present?
He's not here tonight. My name is Gail Lewin. My address 4110 Mayfield Road, South Euclid, Ohio, 44121. I was sworn in. Is that what I'm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have the opportunity. So everyone's aware. As you come up, you have the opportunity to proceed with the 4 members, or wait to the next meeting, which will hopefully have 5 members available. So
We'd like to proceed.
okay.
So I'm the engineer on this project. I submitted the application on behalf of Mr. Nekich, who is not here this evening. So I'll be presenting the application. As part of the application, you guys received a copy of the plans. The project is structurally stabilized in an existing barn. When Mr. Nekich bought the property in 2019, the primary residence had already been torn down by the previous owner. So when he purchased the property, only the barn was still standing. The other primary building was gone. His goal at the moment is to stabilize the property so it doesn't fall down, doesn't cause any harm to anyone that might, be sneaking onto the property. The barn, don't have how old it is, but it is, it's a historic barn. It's over 100 years old. He does intend to do renovations and improve the property at some point. However, we're not quite sure what that's going to look like at this point. When we do know what that's going to look like, we will come back to get further approval from the Architectural Review Board, as well as any other variances that might be needed at that point. But so at this point, all that we're requesting is the ability to basically repair and restore the existing structure as it is on the property without making any significant changes. So when he is ready to make the improvements, the building is still there for him to be able to do that.
So there's 3 variances, and we'll go through all 3, and if the board has questions, on any of the variances. We'll ask those questions now, and we'll discuss all three variances, but we'll vote for them one at a time, okay? So my first question before the board is, once this gets repaired and updated and stabilized, I think, what is the intent? And then it just sits empty, or what's the intended use there?
He's still kind of trying to decide what his intended use is going to be, whether he's going to convert it into a residence or keep it as a barn on a property that, his family and friends can hang out at. So he's not quite sure yet what his final goal of the project is.
Okay. Yeah, because that's what I struggle with is we don't allow structures on vacant lots. And I understand repairing the structure and getting it to a condition and then figuring out what to do. But like what I would really want to know is like what's going to happen in the meantime. Is like you're not going to store anything there, just going to stay empty until he figures out what he's going to do. Is he going to, so it could help us decide if we should allow this to go forward.
At the moment, it's going to stay empty. While it's in the process of being repaired. The repair process is a very long process.
Okay.
So there's going to be construction going on to continue to stabilize the structure and make sure it's structurally sound. And during that time, we are working on, Mr. Nekich has an architect that he's working with. We're the structural engineer on the project. We are working on developing the eventual proposed plans at the same time. We don't intend to let it sit vacant for years, or he wants to be able to use the property. He bought it with the intention of being able to do something with it. He saw the barn. He's always loved the barn. And so when it came available, he bought it because he wants to use it. He doesn't want it to just sit there vacant and abandoned.
Okay. So once it gets stabilized, there'll be a period where you're working on what's going to happen, I guess, you're in the process of. So it's not like it's going to be completed and then nothing's going to be happening for a while. We'll be coming in soon after that to understand.
That's the goal. The goal is that we'll be able to transition directly from restoring the existing structure into the improvements without very much lag time in the middle.
Okay.
This was purchased when?
2019.
And what has occurred along these plans in that time period between then and now?
Since
as far
it's
as
been
stabilizing the structure?
there have been beams that have been replaced, the foundation has been replaced, posts have been replaced, they've reused a lot of the structure that they could use. A lot of the timber beams have been reused. So what you see in the plans is a lot of what's been done.
Skip, do you have any questions?
Do we have any idea what his plans for this property are? I know you said that he intends on doing something, but it's kind of vague.
It is. So his original plans were to basically create a space where he could host friends and family. He's a car collector, so he wanted a space where he could have his cars somewhere on his own property in his own space. So he has plans. One of the things that he had mentioned including was a garage for within the barn, a portion of that dedicated to car storage. Basically a place where he can have parties for him and his friends and his daughter. He has a teenage daughter, and a space for her and her friends to hang out. That's kind of been the goal from the beginning, is that kind of space.
Okay.
So I guess, so now it's just like an accessory building. So is the intent that after it gets stabilized, it'll become like the principal building on the property? It was like a livable space or a separate livable residence we built, on the property?
The goal is not to build a separate livable building on the property. Probably this will always remain the only building on the property. But as far as converting it into a primary residence, including everything that goes along with a residence, versus leaving it as an accessory building, that's what we're not, he hasn't quite determined, which way he wants to go with that yet, because, coming in a primary residence, you have requirements for bedrooms and, 2-car garage and that kind of stuff that might not work with what he intends to use the property for.
I've been in it.
Yeah.
And I did learn that there's apple trees on the property, and it was primarily owned by Patterson's in Chesterland. This is about 1870-ish. So I know it's the beams are, I don't know if the word is hand hewn, but they're black walnut, and it'd be a crime to take it down. It's pretty amazing, but I recall there when I first moved here in 2005, I believe the house was still here then. It was falling in on itself, but you can barely see it in the fall when all the leaves are down. But right now, I'll be honest, I totally forgot it was even there. I can't see it.
No, you can't.
But it's an amazing structure to think it was built all by hand, and just trying to preserve it is something that I think is important to the township too. It's from way back when, a long time ago, to think that thing has survived this long. And I'm a little confused about the wording about shall not be constructed on vacant lot. The lot wasn't vacant. It's been there since before all of us were here. So I'm just kind of struggling with the verbiage here.
Stephanie, can you elaborate what would be defined as a vacant lot? Is it because it's not?
There's no residence on it.
There's no
It's
residence.
that there's an accessory structure without a residence.
So obviously it was a farm at some point because there's a silo there. So was it zoned as ag at one time?
I wouldn't know that. I don't know if Heather knows the history of it.
So if it was built in the late 1800s, we didn't have zoning at
Right.
that time. The township didn't adopt zoning until 1955. To my knowledge, we never had an agricultural use zoning district.
So it would have been grandfathered in at that point.
Right.
And that's kind of why I was asking if it's ever intended to be considered a residential, building, or if there are going to be bedrooms or utilities or anything like that.
You could, I suppose. Anything could be turned into a residence.
Yeah.
So tonight they're only here for the fact that there is no residence and
Right.
that there's an accessory structure. If they did want to turn it into living quarters in the future, which it sounds like you don't know right now, they'd have to come back for a separate variance, but that's a separate issue. Since today all they're here for is the property as it is right now.
Okay.
Also in terms of, the wording of you shall not construct an accessory building. When Mr. Nekich purchased the property, this is what he purchased. He didn't build the barn. The barn there was an accessory building on the property because the previous owner tore down the primary building before Mr. Nekich purchased the property. It's not that he went and built a barn on a vacant property.
Yeah, I understand that, and that makes sense on the other two variances and why you're requesting them, because it's not a new structure.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
I will add, when we get to the proposed stuff, there will be utilities because there needs to be a bathroom, there needs to be water. So we do plan on making those improvements when it comes to that time, if they're necessary for what we intend to do.
Has Mr. Nekich looked into some sort of historical designation or something like that? Based on that?
Not to my knowledge, but
I'm just saying it might be able to might help.
yeah.
Any other questions? No? Okay, Gail, you can please be seated. Is there anyone else here that's speaking for or against this appeal that would like to come up? If there's no further questions, the public hearing for variance number 2021-A2 is now closed to the public. Can I get a motion to approve variance 2021-A2?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
There's actually 3 variances, so there's 3 separate variances. that are
Yeah,
requested.
yeah, sorry. So the first variance will be, we'll go through. So can I get a motion to approve variance number 2021-A2, which is requesting a variance from section 15.03A2, which states that accessory buildings shall not be constructed on vacant lots and shall only be constructed on lots with a principal building for the property located at 7030 Ravenna Road.
So moved.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. Then for discussion on the board about this variance, I don't know. We're allowing a building on a
Yeah, it
vacant
really, it
parcel.
really wasn't constructed here on the current zone, so.
That toothpaste can't be put back in the tube.
I'm sorry, no.
I said the toothpaste can't be put back in the tube, sorry. So, I mean, it's coming up on 160 years old, and I mean, for me, it's the township history is part of that. And the easy solution, in my opinion, would have been get you some heavy equipment and take it down and build something new there. But I think that the attempt to keep this adds to my opinion that a lot of these is, I just don't understand how it would apply to something that, I don't know if the word is grandfathered in, but something that probably should have been grandfathered in, for lack of a better term.
Maybe I'm hung up on is what's gonna happen after the fact. Like, what's the use? Like, I get saving the building. I love the idea that they're trying to salvage this barn and reuse it as something, but like, and it sounds like from the discussions, Stephanie, what she told us is that if they do other improvements, they have to come back and get that stuff approved. So if they add bedrooms or bathrooms and stuff like that.
I guess a worst case, it's a barn, and worst case, he uses it as a barn, which that's what it was built to use. So I don't think he's gonna throw cows in it, but cows are cars. I mean, it's there to store something, I guess. And barns are there to do what barns are there to do, is put stuff in. So worst case scenario, it would be a barn, right?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's a barn in a residential area, right? So he can use it to the same extent that anybody else has a barn or a garage in a residential area can use it, so.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go down, first of all, I think an argument can be won based upon just the language of the section 1503A2 alone. And I understand your concerns, but if we're gonna go down that road, then, where, it's like, what, at what point, I mean, would you rather have a barn there that's gonna be refurbished, or would you rather it be vacant, Along the lines of Todd's saying.
Okay. Blair, you have anything to add to the discussion?
No, just again, the barn was not constructed under the current zone. What was there has been there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any reason not to leave it.
Yeah, and it's gonna function as a barn until they figure out what they're doing and they come back to see us. Okay. So if there's no changes or modifications, then the question is the approval of a variance appeal number 2021-A2 for the variance from section 15.03A2 for an accessory building on a vacant lot. So yes vote approves it, a no vote does not. Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Bowling,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton,
Yes.
and Mr. Valente.
Yes. That variance has been approved. The second variance we have is for Variance number for 2021-A2. Second variance is requested from section 15.03A6, table 15.03-1 to allow the accessory building to be 6,600 square feet in lieu of the maximum 1,532 square feet permitted. Can I get a motion for this one?
Second.
Any discussion from the board? No? Okay. Heather, please, can you please call the vote for the second variance?
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes?
Mr. Bowling?
Yes.
And Mr. Valente?
Yes. Okay, that has been approved. The third variance is for variance number 2021-A2. The third variance is requested from section 15.04B, table 15.04-1 to allow the accessory building to exceed the maximum 220 feet height permitted. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Heather, you can sort that out. Any discussion? Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes?
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Valente?
Yes. The third variance has been approved. Thank you. Thank you for coming back in and cleaning up some of our old business.
Thank you very much.
All right, next is variance number 2021-86. Accurate Landscaping Inc. is requesting a variance from section 29.06A7 to allow the off-street parking to be located 1.5 feet from the side property line in lieu of the minimum 10 feet required for the property located at 7291 Ravenna Road. The second variance is requested from section 29.03F1 to allow the parking to be constructed with gravel in lieu of asphalt, concrete, or concrete remote paver systems. Third variance is requested from section 29.04B1 to allow 5 parking spaces in lieu of the minimum 22 required. And then a fourth variance is requested from section 22.04D, table 22.04 to allow storage bins to be located 1.5 feet from the side property line in lieu of the minimum 20 feet required. A fifth variance is requested from section 38.05A to eliminate the interior parking lot landscaping requirements. Can somebody come up, please?
Hi, my name is Timothy Jackson. The property address is 7291 Ravenna Road. And I have been sworn in.
All right, thank you. So again, as you heard, we could discuss all 5 variances and we'll vote on them separately.
Okay.
But are you okay with moving forward with 4 members instead of 5 this evening?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
So, in I guess a little background, in 1999, I established Accurate Landscaping at 7290 Ravenna Road in Concord. In 2014, I purchased the property that we're talking about now, which is 7291 Ravenna and 7295, which I've currently combined into one parcel. We wanted to expand from landscaping to a supplier, landscape supplier. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturday, 8 to 2, 8 to 3. We do landscaping, pools, athletic fields, and such. We're in the process of trying to move forward with building a new building. And that's how these variances have come about. So on number one, the first variance, which is the setback, the access drives on the north and south sides of the property. When I purchased the property in 2014, that's where the driveways were located. I haven't made any changes, improvements, or to that. That's currently the way it is. Narrowing them because we have bins out front to get them. I guess we were unaware that had to happen, but if we didn't narrow them, it would change our traffic pattern as far as trying to get trucks in and out because of the U-shaped driveway. And then combined with the landscapes established and nice, and I hopefully don't have to tear that up. On the second variance, As far as in this new building, we're gonna be tearing down the existing house that's there. We currently use it as an office, and there is some tenants there. So there's gonna be, the tenants are not moving into the new building, so it's only gonna be us. There's only, we only have 5 employees, 2 of which job report. I traditionally have 80-90% on the job. So there's a Jamie in the office, and then my father's retired, he comes in sometimes. So it, where am I going with this? So as, oh goodness, Jason. Oh, the second one, sorry, is about
Yes.
doing it all on pavement. So some of our machines are larger and probably 70% are on steel tracks. Being on steel tracks and the concrete, it's gonna destroy it. And also it's just when those machines travel on concrete, the noise it's pretty high pitch. It squeals. So we probably would turn our concrete parking lot into gravel pretty quickly. The third variance is the 22 required parking spaces, and that's where we just don't have that many people. I know that the proposed building is going to be 11,700 square feet, and based on zoning regulations and rules, you have to have 22 parking spaces, but we just don't. We don't have that. We just don't have that infrastructure of those people that come to us. All of our jobs are sold through. Most of our jobs are sold through on-site. We'll go to the customer's homes or place of business and that's how we sell our jobs. So it's not like we have customers coming in and we need required parking to house people coming to for us to gain work.
The fourth variance was the storage bins.
The storage bins. So currently, in 2014, when I purchased the property, we got a permit to do the bins across the front. There was a topsoil bin. We park a truck, we have a topsoil bin, we have another mulch bin. On this plan here, if I could show you guys this is not done by civil, but this is done by landscape architect. We're gonna move those bins to the back. And I don't know if I pull it up like this, you can see it. So, the structure right here, the home is going to be torn down. We enter through the south and come through the north, and that's where I was talking about on the sides here. There's a little bit of green space on the north side, but not so much on the south side. So right now, if we have a larger truck, sometimes we're backing in off the road just because we just don't have this room. So we come in the south, and then now we'll be able to back up. We're gonna have all of our truck and storage parking behind this building, so nothing's visible from the road. Right now, we have everything lined up, running east to west, but we're not gonna have that because the proposed building has doors up front.
But what about the bins?
So the bins are right here on this edge.
Are those going away?
I'm hoping to keep these in place.
Uh,
The bins that are on this side that aren't really in question are going to be relocated to the back. The nice part about these bins is it provides privacy from me to the neighbor, and it keeps our stuff tidy. It's nice and neat and separated on this side. If I was to move the bins out, there's an overhead door here that I would block. You just wouldn't be able to.
Could you
never be able to?
Could you move those bins and flip them up top next to those other bins so you just have where those 4 trees are shown?
Oh,
Right here. Because then you wouldn't have. Because right now it seems like it's tight to that property line because you have your bins and that drive is really wide because the bins are there. The truck's probably got to get around them, and those are the ones that are up front. Those would be the ones that I think everyone would appreciate if you could get those moved out of the way, maybe less visible instead of those other ones.
The only problem I'm running out of, and I don't know the correct terminology for this, but I'm running out of green space as far as because I have so much gravel area with the roof. There's a required retention basin and all that. I I'm trying not to take away, I had a traffic study done to make sure that we could get trucks, semi-trucks and trailers in here and back into here. It wouldn't impose anything moving these bins, but I don't know that I have if I have the green space to lose over here.
Is there an open space requirement, Heather, that you're aware of?
There's a maximum lot coverage, 7%.
Yeah. And that's what I'm struggling with is I would like to put the building all the way in the back. There's a setback requirements and we meet all those for the structure. The goal of what we do is because we're gonna park behind the existing building that's here, that building's gonna remain. We're gonna park everything, running north and south. I wanna be able to turn around, be able to turn around here, so we're not doing that all the way up here and back and all the way in every night. If we're moving a larger machine, we turn around here and we back in and that's done. But every night on a day in, day out basis, when we leave in the morning, we come back at night. I'm trying, and the other goal too is, and I guess it's not a problem, but it's just a preference, is I would love to, right now, these trees are starting to grow in. I would love to add some trees so that this isn't super visible from the road.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. It seems like a good opportunity to maybe make those bins up that are up front less visible from the road too. That was one of my questions I was gonna ask. But that's up to you. Okay.
And
Yeah,
then,
can you leave this
Yeah.
plan with Heather, so it's part of the record, Heather? This is the only copy that we have. No, the ones right here. Those are the ones.
I think those
are. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then these are the ones that are moving over.
Right, okay.
And then the final one would, number 5 would be because the parking is greater than 6,000 square feet, not having landscape islands in that, like a traditional Home Depot or something,
Okay.
It just would impede, I guess it would impede our flow. That was, trying to back in and out and work around landscape islands.
Okay. Maybe the board, do we have questions from the board?
So you show 5 parking spots.
Correct.
Will that be paved?
Yes, that will be paved in concrete. And actually, along the front of the building as well, it doesn't show on your plan, but on the front of this plan, we're going to pave along the front of the building as well. Not that they will be parking spaces, but they will be, this will be paved along the front. This will be larger because there isn't an awning. There's a structure that comes off the top, like that. It's going to look like this.
And I get why you guys want to use gravel. But the other issue maybe is that gravel tends to move. So as trucks come in, equipment moves stuff around, the gravel migrates, right? So maybe that's part of the reason some of the areas have maybe gotten bigger, because those bins that are along the property line that are within that 10 feet, you never came in for a variance,
Well,
right?
So there was a different zoning inspector at the time, and I did get an okay to do that because we were constructing the ones out front. I did come in and ask, since we're already doing this, they wouldn't let me go more than 2 high. I believe they're 2 feet high, so it's 4 feet total. That was what he had said. He said no more than 2 feet high, or 2 of them high. And actually on that side, I only did 1 high. I'm only 2 feet high. And I did get approval to do that, but I can't find my paperwork for it. That was years ago, and I've looked, but I can't look at it. So I do have the approval for the structure of these bins. There's bins out front here that are current. They're blocked with landscape on the road.
And those are gonna stay, right?
Those will remain.
Yeah.
Those will remain, but the topsoil bin here, and there's another mulch bin, and we park a truck, that's no longer gonna be there. That's gonna go to the back.
So so this plan is different than this plan?
It is, yeah, so since the civil had that plan, we worked with the landscape architect, they did the traffic study, and then I wanted to increase the green space just a little bit, because we were right on the cusp. You know, we were right at that, like 70% or what have you it was. We were at like 71%, so we increased it to, I think it's 77% now.
So if I'm counting here, it looks like there's the 2 bins up top, right, that are existing, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 bins along the bottom. Is that how many you had down there?
Yeah, there's 4 walls, but it makes 5.
5. Okay, so there's 5. So how many bins are you putting back up there?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has 6 in here, but the civil will clean that up, and I should say the civil will make it exact, because the top soil loop, I believe, is 18 feet, and traditional bin is 16 feet. So there's this shows 7 right now, but it'll probably be 6 just from physical size.
Seems like that just about takes care of what you have on this plan.
Yeah. So it seems like, if I'm just doing the
By
math,
moving those.
if you put those in, then you don't maybe even need the ones down below along that edge. You know, the ones along the southern property line. If you're getting 6 or up top, or 7, even if you make 7 up top, could you get rid of the ones on the bottom and just put like a strip of landscape along that property line for the neighbor?
Yeah, the other thing we do, we could cut this out. And I guess where I'm struggling right now is we carry 11 types of gravel. I'd love to step that up to like 15 or 16, because there's some really cool stuff out of Pennsylvania. There's pinks and purples and stuff that's just not even around here. We have our own trucks and trucking, so I would like to increase, not size or just availability or different colors. So that was the whole focus of adding more back here, was just being able to offer more. We have more access or more use to stuff.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Any thoughts? Skip. You have 5 variances here. I mean, we'll go through them. You know, I struggle with the bins. Obviously, you can hear from down on that southern property line. It seems like there's plenty of room on the property to move those somewhere else right now, and you can still get adequate truck access. I think that, not an engineer, but it seems like that entry drive is really wide, wider than the other one to the north, and it's part of it looks like it doesn't even goes off of your property. So I think you could still get trucks through there, even if you had a little landscape and got rid of those bins. Then your other variances, I understand the gravel, in lieu of the pavement. And I think you did a smart thing in paving those, 5 parking spaces that you guys are going to use often. Thought that was a good idea. I'm okay with 5 spaces instead of 2. We don't need to build more parking if we don't need it. So I'm okay with that. I think even the landscape islands, you can make an argument, maybe you could add an island here or there, but you guys got big trucks coming through there, so it's probably difficult to have landscape islands on there. So that's just my 2 cents.
I just have one question. How does the palm tree survive the winter?
That was my question.
It doesn't. So I cheated and I painted it last year.
Don't put that on the record.
The structure of a palm tree is 80% moisture. That's why they don't live, they freeze. But they're so strong that I painted it and it looked great. Until the second year.
So for every palm tree, you get a can of paint with it?
No, so you got to do that on your own.
Oh, okay.
That's up to you.
Okay.
But it was comical because people would come in and say, "It's coming back." I'm like, I know. Well, I bought 3 cans. It didn't realize it was going to take me 6. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of half done for like 3 or 4 days. It's coming. I know, it's wild. So I had to wait till next year to go get more paint.
That's funny. All right. I think we're all set
Okay.
with you for now. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Is there anyone else this evening who's speaking for or against this appeal that'd like to come up? Hi.
Good evening. My name is Barbara DeFreitas. I live at 7264 Ravenna Road. I have a 4-bedroom ranch home there. And
Where are you in relation to?
I believe I'm across the street,
Okay.
to my understanding.
And you've been
Correct, Jim?
sworn in?
You're not doing anything to the property next to my house? Cool. Okay.
And you've been sworn in?
And I have been sworn in.
Thank you.
And I just want to give you an idea of what it's like there. I believe that it gets quite dusty and my house gets quite dirty. So I really would like to see a lot more landscaping to block some of that wind and blowing of the dust when the trucks come in and out. I think that's all the biggest complaint I have
Okay.
at this time. And like I said, I'm pretty close, when he comes in the property that he has next to my house. And that's rough enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listening to the trucks roll in and out and the dust, in the summertime. So.
Do you have a horse?
I did. We had horses and the whole family showed horses. We
Yeah.
barrel raced, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, no longer any horses. Just got to be too much, a lot of
Yeah.
work. And, maybe someday again. We'll see, But I think that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Heather, I just thought of something. We don't require that the aprons are concrete, for any access to any driveways.
The aprons would be considered part of the parking lot.
Okay, so they're not separate. Okay.
Well, to her point about the dust, when I grew up on a gravel road, and every summer the township would come by and just spray a little oil on top of the gravel and keep the dust down. I mean, it's a relatively inexpensive solution. Like I can't say much for the noise, but to keep the dust down, at least at the beginning. Tim, the front part where the bins are, that's going to stay gravel, right?
Correct.
So it's not going to be paved at all. So, I mean,
Tim, can you come back up just
Sorry.
to answer at the microphone?
yeah. So worst case scenario. I mean, if it gets super dusty, sort of this past week. I mean,
I think it's fair. The only thing I've struggled with is, and I've never got a good, is the EPA ruling on this oil. So
Gotcha.
Ullman Oil does it. He does it for a friend of mine who has Auburn. Works great. Doesn't last like 8 months. They come out, they spray it.
right.
My only fear is because of the mulch. EPA comes out. You got oil in your parking lot. What do you do then? And I've never gotten a straight shot, but I would love to do it. In the Barb's defense, I agree 110%. I'm a neat freak about my trucks.
Well, I'm not talking about the property on her side. I'm talking
Yeah,
about,
I'm saying just in general,
In general.
whether it's on the east or the west side of the property. I'd love to do it. I just never gotten anyone to give me their blessing and say, this is okay. You can do it.
Right.
Could you do like a chip and seal?
From molasses?
I don't know.
I genuinely, I don't know. I would be lying if I told you that. I know that Ullman Oil does it, and it says on the side of the truck, EPA friendly, or what have you. And I'm sure someone's out there checking them. I would think so.
So if it ever gets really dry or really dusty, after the gravel gets, do you guys ever water it down to maybe?
We do. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'd be lying to you to tell you it works.
Dries in
My
15 minutes.
my son has a Kubota with a watering tank on it. He made a spray bar. 15 minutes later, it looks like he did nothing.
Yeah.
But the past month has been really not dust free.
Well, would it be worth a call to Ullman for? Mr.
Yeah, it would
Arco?
be. And in fact, I'd be truthful that I made that call like 3 weeks ago. It got real dusty like the end of May, beginning of June, and I was over it. you know, in Tavar's defense or even ours, even the screens on the computer, you go in there in the morning, it's just dust. You know, the keyboard's just dust. And I get it. I genuinely get it. And I'd love to do something about it. I'm so fearful that I did that. And then they say, uh-oh. You know, as far as... Yeah, exactly. Where do you go from there?
Right.
And that was my only thing. And I never researched it any further because then it started raining for a month and a half straight. So and I'll be genuine with you. I never, after that, I never, you know, we have the guys that's all they do is wash trucks, or one guy that does that, and he'll wash something 48 hours later. It's like, you know, I mean, it still looks clean, but it's not what it should.
Yeah, it's like the chip and seals a little bit.
It's awesome. Yeah.
But that's the whole other level. Any other questions for Tim while we have him up here?
Good, thanks.
No, thank you. Is there anyone else here this evening that's here to speak for or against this appeal? I'd like to come up. If there's no further questions, the public hearing for variance number, let's see, this is 2021-87 is not closed to the public. Okay, so we're gonna,
This is 8-6.
I'm sorry, 2021-86, thank you. So, I'm gonna provide a motion. We're gonna talk about the first one, so we'll have a motion just for the first variance, and we're gonna talk about that one, and then we'll go on that one, and we'll go through them all again, okay? So can I have a motion for variance 2021-87, Accurate Landscaping Inc. is requesting a variance from section 29.06A7 allow off-street parking to be located 1.5 feet from the side property line in lieu of the minimum 10 feet required for the property located at 7291 Ravenna Road.
So moved.
Any discussion on this one?
This is the South Bends, that's what this one is, right?
Well, no,
Parking area. Yeah, so this
the
one.
bins are actually fourth. This is parking, and I think the parking is in,
It's his parking lot by the building,
Gotcha.
that it's 1.5 feet from the property.
Got it.
so this is not the bins.
Okay.
So this is allowed parking near the property line. Blair, do you have anything?
I'm not sure I'm seeing that on this drawing.
I don't-
It's that lot he was describing right in front, that's gonna be concrete.
Yeah.
But it's not
But
1.5
But it's not
feet.
1.5
Yeah.
feet.
it looks
Is that
like
what you're
10.
talking about?
No.
Where's your off-street parking then?
I can clarify the way I wrote that, actually, it deals with both the north and the south. So on the north side, the existing parking lot, which includes the access drive, is 6.5 feet away and 5.2 feet away. But then also on the south side, where the storage bins are located, my interpretation of that is those storage bins were part of the parking lot, which is 1.5 feet away
Okay.
from the south property line.
Okay, great, I'm good.
So
So this is the driveway now.
So-
Got it.
I think maybe,
So it's not necessarily parking.
it's not
It's
parking,
the
but the
driveway.
driveway access is not parking
well,
either,
the
so.
parking lot, when the
Yeah,
parking
it's part
lot
of the lot.
includes the access drives for our definition.
Yep.
Clear to everybody where you're going.
We're clear.
Yeah.
Okay, so did we get a motion?
We got a motion.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
I just wanna clarify, you're not parking vehicles where those storage bins are. Okay,
There would be no parking, that's just, we would just need to access how it's been forever. You know, I'm not changing any of that.
so your access is not changing,
No,
and your parking is not changing,
correct. Other than
except that lot in the back.
Yeah, then the hoop house and that red truck is always there for them now.
Yeah, okay. I'm concerned that the way this is phrased, it sounds like you're allowing him to park up where those storage bins are,
Yeah,
which is not what the intention is.
be a long walk.
Yeah, for you it would, but for, yeah,
So can we add maybe a stipulation to this one? That
I think just how it's phrased, to allow the,
to allow access within 1.5 feet, but not parking of vehicles.
yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna just say that, so we're gonna get a motion for the first variance that allows for off-street parking to be 1.5 feet from the side property line in lieu of the 10 feet required.
For
But-
access purposes only,
For access purposes only,
not for parking.
not for parking.
Yep, that'll work.
Can I get a motion again?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Heather, please call the vote for the first variance after you're done writing.
I apologize to the board and to legal counsel for that. Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes?
Mr. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Valente?
Yes. That variance has been approved. The next for variance number 2021-86 is a second variance requested from sections 29.03F1 to allow the parking area to be constructed with gravel in lieu of asphalt, concrete, or concrete road paver systems. Can I get a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes?
Mr. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Valente?
Yes. Okay, so with, for variance 2021-86, a third variance is requested from sections 29.04B1 to allow 5 parking spaces in lieu of the minimum 22 required. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Do we need to discuss this one at all?
Nope.
Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes?
Mr. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Valente?
Yes. Okay, so that was the third one. So now for 2021-86 of fourth variance is requested from section 22.04D, table 22.04 to allow storage bins to be located 1.5 feet from the side property line in lieu of the 20 feet required. Can I get a motion on this
So moved.
one? Discussion? I'll just say that I'm opposed to this one, so
I
that's just,
think there are alternatives for this.
that's where I'm at with this one. So it's up to you guys if you want to talk about it, but I think there's plenty of other opportunities to put them somewhere else on the property. I don't know if you guys, anything else anyone wants to add? No? All right. Heather, can you please call the vote for the fourth variance?
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes?
Mr. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton?
No.
Mr. Valente?
No. The fourth variance did not pass. Next is variance 2021-86. A fifth variance is requested from section 38.05A to eliminate the interior parking lot landscape requirements. Can I get a motion to approve this one?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Alan's right.
Yeah. Everyone's good? Okay. Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes?
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Valente?
Yes. Your variance has been approved. Thank you very much. Okay. Next on the docket is variance number 2021-87. American Construction Group LTD, on behalf of the property owner David Zimmerman, is requesting a variance from section 17.04B and 17.07A to allow for the minimum, to allow for the construction of an in-ground pool and pool terrace with a 39 feet, 9 foot 7 inch riparian setback in lieu of the minimum 75 feet required for the property located at 11443 Viceroy Street.
Good evening, I'm William Foster, sworn in, representing Mr. Zimmerman is with me here this evening, and
Could you state your address for the record, please, sir?
Yeah, good evening, team. This is David Zimmerman, 11443 Viceroy Street, Concord, Ohio, 44077. I have been sworn in. Thank you.
Thank you. And Wade, state your address for the record.
6337 Chittenden Drive, Hudson, Ohio.
Okay, thank you.
Would you like us both up here, sir?
No, whoever's going to present first, and Mr. Zimmerman, if you need to come up, you can come up.
Good evening. Basically, we presented a plan, went through zoning. The backyard of this home had already been significantly developed. We presented a plan that was within the, there's two boundaries. I think there's terminology here.
Riparian setback.
They're in setback, correct. So the zoning came back with a 75-foot setback that actually encompassed the existing deck, the existing shed, garage, landscape development, patios, which actually the development we were doing was within that same footprint. So basically the hardship for this was I believe, and Mr. Zimmerman will talk a little bit about the change, I guess, had happened after they had occupied the property. I don't want to speak out of line, so I'll let him talk about that. But basically, that's what we're seeking is a variance for that pool to be put within the existing landscaping and walls that they have on the property. We were going to embellish on the walls by adding a fireplace, adding some security fencing along the top of the pool walls. So that is what we're seeking the variance for, is the pool set within the existing landscape.
So, thank you. And so my question is, so the walls are there already, and you're within that whole area that's already developed?
Correct.
Okay. That helps. Thank you.
So there is a little bit of an area. So to say we're adding just in scope, we're changing out some of the materials on the deck to a composite material. We're adding a staircase so they can have egress from the upper level to the lower level, which they have a beautiful lower level developed already. And then we're adding a area of terrace to the which would be the south pool area with a fireplace. So that's all within the environmental easement. Like I said, we didn't know a thing about the easement. That was a 75-foot.
Yeah, it's all within the
blueprint.
It's within the riparian setback, but outside of the environmental easement.
But that's the scope of what we're doing, and then also adding a fence in the green space. They do have some dogs, and try to give the dogs some green space as well.
So there's a fence around the pool, then the fence around the yard.
Correct.
Okay. Got it. Any questions from the board?
Was there a variance for the initial work that was done to establish this area in the first place?
I wasn't involved in that process, and I don't have that information.
When we purchased the property and built the home, there was no variance required. There was nothing at all that was required.
There was
We
no
built the property in
riparian.
2009, sir, and at the time there was nothing. We had to get the survey. We had to get it resurveyed because the survey wasn't correct to begin with. So it was X and Y cost, I don't know, $7,000, $8,000 at the time correctly. And there was no variance or anything given to us. I understand through the county engineer who came out, Mr. Randy, and I forget his last name, that something was done 2 or 3 years ago that, what was it called, not the variance.
The riparian setback.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, correct. And what they did, they never gave us a copy of that. Nobody had ever forwarded us anything, so basically I guess we should be quote unquote grandfathered in because where we sit now, we shouldn't have had our deck. It wouldn't be legal and blah, 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 what we have currently. wouldn't be legal if we had built a home because it's sitting in what we're requesting, the variance to put our pool in. So it wouldn't even be legal. So what we're asking for is, I guess, after the fact, if you will, because we never gotten any of that information, or we've never done it. So here we are, we're begging, like, please, we're trying to do the right thing here. We're very conscientious people. We want to keep and maintain the beauty of the nature reserve behind us. We bought that lot purposely for the creek running behind it and all the nature reserve and so on and so forth. So we want to keep that up and going. But we want, really, if you stand in our patio, that's where the pool's going to be, literally right there. So we're asking for this variance to put it there and remove our patio, if you will, and put the pool there.
Okay.
Had we have known, obviously we would have done this way before time. We moved our house probably 150 feet forward, and I mean, seriously, our neighbors had to do the same thing. The people across the street, we have letters from our neighbors giving us permission, if you will, or saying that it's okay to do this and what type of good neighbors we are, so on and so forth. So, yeah, so I'm pleading our case for this because of that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr.
Any
Chairman,
other questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman, if I could just clarify something. Correct, when you built your house and your existing patio and shed that are there, the township did not have the riparian setback, so those existing structures are
Yes, ma'am, that's
grandfathered
correct.
in.
We
But the
always do
new,
everything-
but the new improvements that you're doing is expanding and encroaching further into the riparian setback. You are expanding some of that existing patio and pushing the wall out and the pool into an area that's currently used for lawn. So that expansion of that and the new improvements that you're proposing is what triggered the variance.
That's
you're
correct,
required here
ma'am.
this
I think it was something ridiculous, I want to say 23 feet, something. It was not that big of a deal, because we measured from the creek up, and it was like, you're taking it only like this much, wow. I mean, that's why we're here today, because we don't want to do anything wrong, we want to do everything right and get it all done, and if it happens, great, if it doesn't happen, so be it, but we have to mercy to grant us this variance, we can go ahead and proceed forward, sir.
Okay, but it is going out further than the existing is now. So-
Yes, sir.
Not a lot, but there's also, a lot of times there's, some people govern the distance from a structure to a pool, anywhere from 10 to 15 feet. But it's pretty close to what there's existing walls there and landscaping. So when I say, I don't have the exact measurement of where it is, but it's within.
If this was my patio wall here, I would say, and I'm guessing with the insulation and everything, they're probably talking about this much. It's not going to encroach that much, and it's all going to be insulated and a facade wall in the back and so on. So it's not going to be like from me to you or whatever. It's just going to be minimal at best.
It is just going into lawn, not any of.
Correct.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Is this encroachment to the east of the existing structure or north and east? Based on your plan?
The plan, when you see north,
That's what I'm looking at this.
Yeah. If I'm on my patio, it's going on the north, so it's going to be south and to the east, south and east. If I'm on my patio, if I'm looking at you this way, the pool's going to be here, which is to the south and to the east.
The grass over here. So that right there is that wall, right there, so that wall's going across. So all he's doing is removing the grass and putting a pool in, so all the natural vegetation is gone anyway.
Okay, thank you.
You need to sit down, sir? Oh. You said thank you, I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, too, for clarification, I think if you look at sheet A101, you can see the layout plan. Lightly dashed lines underneath there show the existing wall location and where, that's about centered in the pool area. You can see where the existing wall location is and now where the proposed improvements are in relationship to what's existing. Do you see that?
Yeah, it's just really faint,
There's
yeah.
a call out, existing
Yeah.
walls and steps to be removed, wall block to be salvaged and reused.
Okay, I see, yeah, it's really faint from the copy.
Yeah, so it's like 10 feet,
Yeah, I see
probably.
it. Thank you, Heather. Yep. Yeah, you see it on this copy. Okay.
So what's there now is just grass, is lawn right there right now.
Yes, so there's a pavers, and then there's a wall with some landscaping and everything. Yes, sir, that's correct.
Got it.
So some steps going down to the, yes.
It's basically a couple tiers and landscape tiers.
Okay. No, I understand. Skip, do you have any questions for the gentleman?
Sir, do you understand the purpose of a riparian setback? Especially as it applies to your property? Do you understand why that's there?
It's for the runoff of the water, so it doesn't go into the creek and to the damage the
Right.
environment that's there. Yes, sir, I
Right.
do. Yes, sir.
Right, okay.
Mr. Zimmer, you built back in 2009?
Yes, sir, correct.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You guys good up there?
Yeah, I was just going through Chad's letter, Chad from, yeah, so the three things that hit me, one was that they're above the 100-year floodplain, so that's good. The horizontal distance between the retaining wall we were talking about and the stream is not likely to be impacted. And it's already grass. And he said here, it's already void of natural vegetation. So the riparian setback's water quality function, it's already been compromised. Therefore, the impacts to water quality are negligible. So I think what he's saying here is like, it's already grass. You can't make it
It's
worse.
very nice looking grass, yes, sir. It sure is. Yes, sir. Correct.
Gotcha.
Spent a lot of money to keep that going, yes, sir, correct.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up, yeah.
Gotcha.
It's a good point. Okay?
Okay.
We're good? Thank you, gentlemen. Please be seated.
Thank you, sir, thank you.
Can I get a motion to approve variance 2021-87?
Second.
Heather, please call the vote to approve variance.
I have a question for Heather.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
we could discuss first.
Yeah,
You could be seated, sir. It's not, it's closed, we're just.
Yeah, this is just for the discussion.
Yes.
This 75-foot riparian setback, that's a fairly significant setback, right?
Right.
And what creek is that?
Jordan Creek.
That's Jordan Creek, okay. And if I remember correctly, and I just want to clarify this, I don't think it really has any bearing on it, but when Chad was here, I asked him the question about what are the differences between the 25, 50, 75, and 100 foot, or 120 foot setbacks, and I said, does it have anything to do with the volume of water, the potential for the volume of water that runs through these? And he said, no, it has something to do with the vegetation. Is that true? Can anybody help me with that?
I don't remember exactly. I thought it was based on watershed size.
Right, the setbacks that are in place in the zoning resolution are based on the drainage area for that portion of the
drainage
stream.
area, and I asked Chad, well, does it have to do with the volume of water running through there, or the potential of running through there? And he said, no, it has something to do, or it has to do with the amount of vegetation that will be affected regardless of the amount of water. So, I don't know. It doesn't really have any bearing on this, and I'm sorry about that, but I just wanted to clarify that.
It's based on the land area that's within that drainage area.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And
All
then-
right.
All right, so I kind of messed that one up too. So we do need to close that public hearing. So is there anyone else here that's speaking for or against that appeal that'd like to come up? So if there's no further questions, the public hearing for variance number 2021-87 is now closed to the public. Now, as the board, can we get a motion to approve variance 2021-87?
So moved. Second.
All right, any discussion up here? Any further discussion? Okay. Heather, can you please call the vote now?
Mr. Goling,
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes?
and Mr. Valente.
Yes. Your variance has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Yeah, have him contact me, yeah?
All right.
Keeping you in.
So the next item on the agenda is variance 2021-88. Bay Creek Veterinary Hospital Main Holdings LLC is requesting a variance from section 38.04A to allow 3.5 feet planting area between the proposed building, addition and existing sidewalk, and move the 5 feet required for the property located at 11743 Colonel Road. Good evening.
Good evening. My name's Larry Klein. I represent the Big Creek Veterinary Hospital Group. My address is 10640 Wintree Drive, Concord, Ohio, 44077, and I have been sworn in.
Thank you, sir.
This variance request is asking to reduce the 5-foot landscape mandate to 3 foot 6 inches, where we're proposing to add 4 exam rooms onto the east side of the animal hospital. All other landscaping areas after the work is done would be returned to, you know, its landscape potential within the zoning codes. This particular strip runs between the existing building and the sidewalk right now, and when we add 10 feet to the building, there will only be 3 foot 6 inches left. The hospital would like to mulch that with plants and mulch rather than just lawn or anything like that to help keep the clients' pets from using that area, which sometimes gets to be a problem. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay, I agree. Any further questions? Is there anyone here this evening that's either speaking for or against this appeal? If there's no further questions, the public hearing for variance number 2021-88 is now closed to the public. Can I get a motion to approve variance 2021-88?
Second?
Any discussion from the board? Heather, can you please call the vote?
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Golding?
Yes.
Mr. Valenti?
Yes. Variance has been approved. Next is a conditional use permit, number 2021-8-18, Big Creek Veterinary Hospital Land Holdings LLC is requesting an amended conditional use permit for veterinary services in accordance with section 13.22 for the property located at 11743 Girdle Road.
Good evening. My name is Larry Klein. I'm representing Big Creek Veterinary Hospital. 10640 Wintree Drive, Concord, Ohio. I have been sworn in. This is just an extension of the existing conditional use permit. We're not adding employees, we're not changing the use of the building. It's still a veterinary hospital, it was, it will be. Everything's basically remaining the same, but because we're adding 4 exam rooms to it, we felt that there should be a proper conditional use permit that goes with it.
And what's gonna happen in this case?
That's the exit.
Okay.
We're putting a new exit in.
Okay.
COVID showed that when people were coming in and out of the same door, and with animals, it's hard to keep everybody separated. So since we were going to go ahead and add the exam rooms, the hospital decided that it would be best if there was a proper exit. So now you can enter from the east side and you will exit from the west side,
Okay.
keeping the traffic flow going that way.
I just live right around the corner.
Where?
I live in Nova Ridge.
Oh, okay.
And business is booming at your place. Every time I drive past there, your parking lot is overflowing.
It's busy.
That's good.
We didn't together. Our first option was to try to figure out how we could put an underground water storage in place of the detention basin and put a parking lot on that side.
Wow.
But that got shut down.
I guess that's good.
Yeah, no,
It's a good
You
problem to
could
have.
reopen the old building across the street.
they may
Yeah.
have to. They may have to.
It's for sale.
No.
Any questions on the conditional use permit from anyone? No. Okay, you can be seated.
Thank you.
Is there anyone speaking for or against this conditional use permit this evening? there's no further questions, the public meeting is closed for,
Hearing.
public hearing is closed for conditional use permit 2021-18. All right, can I get a motion to approve the conditional use permit?
It's an amended, just a note, it's the amended conditional use permit. His other permits, well, his other conditions remain.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve the amended conditional use permit for 2021-18?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Heather, can you please call the vote?
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Valenti?
Yes. So your conditional use permit is also approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next is variance number 2021-89. Apex Pinnacle Services LLC is requesting a variance from section 30.11D to allow for a roof sign which is prohibited sign for the property located at 7596 Freehold Drive. Please come up and present your.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name's David Saltzman. I have been sworn in. I live at 28150 Cambridge Lane in Pepper Pike, but looking forward to opening a store soon here at 7596 Friedel Drive in Concord. And this is Bill Holzman with Apex, and he's here as our sign vendor on the project.
Okay, you want to walk us through what you're proposing?
Yes, sir. Glad to. So first off, I just want to say that we're really looking forward to opening Lucky's Market here very, very shortly. It's a project that we've been excited about for quite a while. My family owns and operates Dave's Markets here in Ohio and also Lucky's. And sincerely, this is a project we've had on the radar for 4 years now, and we're just about to the finish line. Customer flow and traffic and volume are the lifeblood of a supermarket, and in a market that's increasingly competitive, the reason I'm here to ask you for a variance for the signage is because we really want to be able to attract the eye of anyone driving by the store, specifically going out to 44, and show them about what an awesome asset we're going to have here in the community. We think that'll be. We think the store is going to be great for Concord and for all the employees that are going to work here as well. The signage that we've prepared and the images we can show you that's on top of the roof. We also have at our other location here in town on Clifton Boulevard, and we get comments often from customers that they see the sign from a distance. When the store first opened, that's how they knew it was there, and it's incredibly impactful in the evening. And we want to push consistency with that branding. Candidly, I can tell you that we're investing several $1 million in the space. We already have, and the last thing we want to see happen for everyone's sake is us to go out of business after doing so. I can tell you that when we were debating as a family if we could have a viable store in that box, one significant concern was the entrance and exit into Grist Mill just overall. Typically, not just us, but grocers like to be on the street, on the main corner, where everyone can see and really easily access the store, because again, it's customer count is everything. The margins are tight in our business, and the more people you can attract, the better chance you have at making it in the long run. And like I said, I'm a 5th generation grocer, and frankly, I want to be able to pass this store on to my kids someday. You know, just another thing I want to point out is oftentimes what you'll see is if a store changes ownership, there often new owners do everything they can to minimize the amount of time that the store is closed, so customers don't change shopping habits. Everyone, how should I say this the right way? People develop habits in how they shop, and changing habits is difficult. And obviously, from the day we open the store in a few weeks here, we're aiming to change a lot of habits because currently no one is shopping there. And we know that in the past people have, but again, we just want to be able to tell our story and say, hey, we're here and we're open. So what questions can I answer for all of you?
Well, I would say that, you know, just the buzz around town, I think people are excited to get Lucky's.
Thank you.
So, thank you very much. And I think somebody on the board coming from me last month about the signage. So I just want to say that what I'm a little disappointed with is that they were in last month for a variance for a sign out front to increase visibility to the plaza. And I wish this would have been coordinated a little bit better. Because I'll be honest with you, I like a lot what you guys are doing with the sign. I think it's kind of neat. It's not in our code, but I'm disappointed that it wasn't coordinated better, because maybe we could have reduced that sign. Because I was personally not thrilled with the sign that they're putting out front, with the size and the scale and how it fits the fabric of the streetscape. But we went and approved it anyways, because we agree with what you just said, that visibility and identification is important, and we all kind of talked about that last month. So we wish that would have been coordinated a little bit better, because maybe we could have made that sign a little bit smaller that they're putting out front, knowing that this was coming in and this was really going to be the marquee for Lucky's, you know, the sign that you get.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm sorry for that. Candidly, and I'll speak bluntly, I found out that sign was approved and had even come in front of you 2 days ago. So I'm just telling you honestly that I had not seen a drawing for the monument sign or known that where that was in the process until 2 days ago when the landlord was at the store and showed me a picture of it. So does that help? Yes, but it also it does, and I think it's good for us and it's good for all of the other tenants as well. But it's also a slightly different approach in terms of where that sign will be visible from, and to whom and at what times of day. But I take your point, and I apologize for that.
You don't need to apologize. Just want to make that point. Does anyone else have any questions for David? For the only question I have is the light, the sign. Maybe get a sense of like how it's being lit. Is that you know, what's that material? If you could come to the microphone, those are our procedures. So just state your name and that you've been sworn in.
Bill Holzman, 313 Corning Drive, Bradwell. I've been sworn in.
Thank you, sir.
There's neon illumination behind plastic faces.
Okay.
Could you explain that a little more?
There's
What does it look like when it's illuminated?
Can I push the...
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Is it neon?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it is. So it is neon.
You have red letters with plastic faces on it.
Okay.
And all the red has
And
colors
then
on
I
it.
just want to know if it was neon or not.
So
what about this one?
Same way.
Really?
Yeah. Great. He had all kinds of them.
Great.
It's all based on their branding.
Great. Consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And so the red is lit up neon, and then the white just is the background for it?
Polyurethane coating.
Okay.
That's great.
Okay, there's no other questions. You can be seated. Thank you. Is there anyone else here this evening that's speaking for or against this appeal? There's no further questions. The public hearing for variance number 2021-89 is now closed to the public. Can I get a motion to approve variance number 2021-89?
Second.
Any discussion from the board?
I like it. I think it looks great. I like the script L and the outline of the Ohio. I think it's gonna to his point, it's gonna increase the visibility. It's gonna increase the branding. It's just there's gonna be donuts there. The kids said they wanted to make sure there's donuts.
We'll find out. Maybe that's a separate.
There's a bakery.
Can we designate an item, specialty item? I think it looks wonderful.
It looks great. It really does.
I think everyone understands you guys are taking a risk, and that's much appreciated. However, with the population density over the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years, I think that risk is going to be a lot minimized. So good luck. It's going to be great.
All right, Heather, could you please call the vote?
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Bowling?
Yes.
Mr. Valente?
Yes. Your variance has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good luck.
Thank you so much.
Good luck. So, next is variance number 2021-90. HSB Architects and Engineers is requesting a variance from section 13.10C to allow the building to be located 20.3 feet from the abutting property line in lieu of the minimum 50 feet required for the property located at 8159 Auburn Road. A second variance is requested from section 13.10E to allow the access drive to be located 12 feet from the abutting property line in lieu of the minimum 20 feet required. A third variance is requested from section 15.04B, table 15.041 to allow the accessory structure to be 35 feet height in lieu of the maximum 20 feet permitted.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Andre Kawan with the HSB Architect, presenting here Open Career Center on their behalf. I have not been sworn in.
You have not been sworn. Okay. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the whole truth, will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God? So say I do.
I do.
Thank you, sir.
So, as you probably are familiar by now with this proposed first responder for the Career Center, we're asking for 3 variances. The first one is really the existing location of the house that's currently at somewhere around 22.3 foot setback from the adjacent property line. So we're requesting to maintain that setback, and we're seeking for variance on that one.
That's an existing building.
That's the existing house, and the garage attached to it. It's what
doesn't meet the setback.
Doesn't meet the setback.
Okay.
It was originally there. The second one is basically according with, corresponding with the garage, the driveway nearly on the same lot line, which is about 12 feet setback from the adjacent property line as well. So we're keeping that as well as an option.
So are you repaving that driveway just in the same location, or are you just keeping what's there?
No, we cannot repave it, but the option and was to move it away, except we're trying to work with the Lake County Building Department to see if they can accept the move of the driveway off of Auburn Road. In the event they did not approve the moving, that's why I'm seeking the variance to maintain the location of that driveway. But our intention is to move the driveway.
And if you move it, you don't need a variance, correct?
And if I move it, I don't need the variance, correct?
Okay. And is, do you have the change in the drive, the option available here this evening?
I apologize if I have any recollection, if I did copy on that one. Did I?
Is that the last option, where it shows it going to the front? Is it that last page in here? Where you take a drive in front of there and it goes in and out? You want to come up here and look at this real quick? It looks like there's a. Is this to come in and do this with the vehicle? And then this goes away?
Yes, the alternate option was to maintain this, but was able to, there's a scenario and difficulty with the fire truck, as we discussed maybe as that on the last meeting, the maneuverability of the fire truck. And we took that into consideration with the owner and the developer, and we went in on the drafting table trying to resolve this. This was one of them, but there's another option, is to move this slightly in and have a second cut of Auburn Road as a shoe horse turnaround. I presented those two options to the Lake County, to Tracy, she's the chief engineer there, and quite frankly, I haven't heard from her for the last 2 weeks. First week, she was busy, and I think second week, she went on vacation, and I'm still trying to track her down with the comments, whether, if the county can approve, whether we move the driveway or add on to the driveway as a horseshoe turnaround. And I haven't accomplished that. So the purpose of tonight, just so we could clear the existing, the current driveway, which is in violation of the code, because it doesn't meet the setback. Once we do that, then in case, again, in the event of the county did not approve the horseshoe turnaround and moving it, we're gonna stick with what we have.
It probably doesn't matter to anybody, but I think I might like it better this way than having a big driveway in front. I like the idea of maybe keeping that landscaping in front of it.
Well, according to this, the pine trees are gonna stay, but it looks like this brown exercise area shrinks, and then,
that's how they do it.
so this existing parking lot from the vocational school is a straight connection all the way through, and then you got that little horseshoe, so the fire trucks that scooch out that way. So the landscape stays, the brown exercise area gets a little smaller, and they squish it together. Is that my understanding?
Correct.
So they lose a little exercise area, but they can park more fire trucks.
Well, not, more importantly, maneuver the fire truck.
Yeah, to get them out.
That was the main, correct.
It's much better.
Because you can turn, as you can see on the black and white site plan, you cannot really turn right off Auburn Road if you're leaving that way. You're forced to turn left. So there's no limitation if we do not move that drive.
Yeah.
We're advocating to move the drive and make it comfortable for everybody.
Well, as this exists, can you even turn around?
No, it's a back-in,
No, you
back-out
can't.
scenario.
Right, and that's
So,
not.
That's not good. So we're counting, we're crossing our fingers that the county is gonna allow us either option A, to move it at least to the setback, quote unquote, what we need to do. And also if they would allow an additional drive for that horseshoe.
it does seem like a better plan, the black and white plan with the driveway in front. I don't know how many fire trucks are gonna be there at any given time, but You got one in this driveway, maybe two, but you can utilize the whole parking lot. You got the connector to go through. Just seems like a much better idea should the county approve it.
Regardless, are you gonna put that landscape along the buffer if you, with either version?
I'm sorry,
The landscaping that's shown here, will that get planted regardless of what happens with the driveway?
on what side?
Right here?
Along the fence line?
Oh, along the fence line. Well, this one remained, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we're keeping that.
That'll get planted no matter what.
That's gonna get planted, and also we are planning on planting here, and also.
So the other,
There's this site, we will also there want some planting.
okay, and while I have you here, your two proposals are a new section with the horseshoe here or here, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, one or the other.
One or the other.
All right.
But in the meantime, they'd like for us to allow, in case that doesn't get approved, a variance to keep the driveway as is.
Right. Okay. Got it.
So what you're saying, this second proposal would then meet all the required setbacks,
That is correct.
if you're able to do it.
Okay. And then you
And
have
the
the
third
variance.
variance is basically the climbing stair tower for their activities. We're requesting 35-foot, basically it's a 30-foot platform to the third level with the handrail. It adds it up to 35-foot tall staircase in lieu of the 20.
How much taller is that than that existing home that's out there? How tall is that house that's out there now? That's in front of you?
I would think it's about maybe 16 feet, 17 feet.
Yeah.
There's no way around that.
Yeah, just.
You can see it from 44.
You're gonna
So,
see it.
yeah.
That would be a good observation tower in case of any.
Well, it's gonna have a gate, right? No one's gonna be able to get in
Yeah,
there.
we're gonna have to get, absolutely.
Chris will be
I
happy.
appreciate your memory.
She's not here to defend her kid party, so don't bring that up right now.
That was classic. That was classic.
Okay. Any other questions?
Nope, I don't.
No. Okay, you can be seated. Thank you. Is there anyone else here that's speaking for or against this appeal that I could come up?
I'm Steve Mtg, 8139 Auburn Road, and I've been sworn in. Okay, I just got this letter in the mail, so that's why I'm here. You know, one, I am an EMT and a firefighter for BZA Cooper Corporation. I've gone to school, I've gone to Texas A&M for all their firefighting training. Actually, I went to EMT school at the Concord Career Center, so I'm a big supporter of the Career Center. I don't know exactly what's going on here. I see the billboard out in the front yard. That's all I know. I was contacted last year that they were going to clear that tree lawn out between the two properties and put a fence up. You know, in the spring. Well, the spring came and went. Now we're in the summer. Still no fence. I haven't heard nothing more. What's going on with that? So I don't know if you guys can enlighten me on that or.
Steve, where do you live?
Where do you live?
8139.
Like I'm sorry, in relation to this.
In relation to this property?
Right next to it.
Okay, so you live next door?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I talk to the fire guys over there all the time. You know, 'cause I'm out there in the yard.
That's interesting.
They're in there, you know, they're out there Saturdays, you know, while I'm out there yard working and, you know, we just talk back and forth. I mean, I have no problem with them over there.
Have you seen this?
No,
Here, come here.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody's.
Is that okay for them to come up and look?
Well, just so you know, this came up last month, the site plan, right? This was a last, like, conditional use to put this in. And then this has to go to zoning.
Proposed.
This will be in front of
You
the
live
zoning
right here.
commission at the August 3rd meeting.
Okay. Right there. Yep. It's actually falling down now because of the weather and everything and.
Uh-oh,
Well, and Mr. Chairman, as far as the fence that you're referring to, we do have a zoning permit application in our office right now for the construction of a fence.
Okay.
I'm sure Andre could tell you the details of what
Yeah,
that
that's-
fence
are you
is
okay
going
with
to
that?
be. But
Yeah, like the Career Center, they contacted me about it and like okay, that's fine, that's great. I mean, you know, whatever you guys do on your property is your property. I mean, I'm not gonna stop you, you know? I mean, I put up with a lot of things, you know, like, you know, it's here, where's here? There's that sign. Where the heck is that sign? All right, so there's a sign right there.
Yeah.
That literally at night, I have to have my blind shut. Then the entrance into the career center, they redid the lighting. That thing shines right into my front of my house. I gotta keep my blind shut at night, every night, you know? But I don't complain. I support my school system. I've gone to the school system.
Yeah.
You know, my kids have gone to the school system.
How long have you lived here?
Total, probably around 30 years.
Wow.
My mom and my dad bought that place years ago. I was raised here. I went to the military, moved out for a while, and then now I'm back.
So let's just fill you in a little bit where we're at with the process. So they came in for a conditional use permit last month, which we approved conditional use of this property for Auburn Career Center. They're here this evening to get the variances to keep this driveway here, you know, this close to the property line, keep the building that's there now this close to the property line, and also construct a tower. If you skip, you can point to that in the back where the tower's at.
Yeah, the tower will be
Right there, that square right there.
here. Training tower.
That's 30 plus feet tall. And that's what we're approving
That'll
this
be right
evening.
there.
So if you want to continue to stay involved in the zoning process, there's a meeting with the zoning commission next month. This will be presented for approval at zoning commission next month, this plan. So this evening, we are only approving the variances, and then it goes to planning commission for the site plan approval.
Do you have any objections?
I
know you just got a look at it.
So if you want to go back to the microphone, so we can make sure we get all on record. So do you have any objections or concerns with the variances that we're approving and discussing tonight, which is the driveway setback from the property line from the fence, which already exists, the building setback from that property line, which already exists, or the height of the tower of 35 feet in lieu of the 25 feet that is allowed?
The only issue I have is really with that tower, because like I said, I'm already putting up with a lot of things, you know, with lights shining at me, you know, in the house. I mean, it really gets bad and annoying, especially on summer nights, you know, it's hot. I want to open the windows, but I can't because I got to put the blinds down. You know, so that's already one thing I'm already kind of upset about. And like I said, I don't complain much. It's been like that for years. I try to let things be. The issue I'm going to have with this is it's something I got to look at every day, because when I pull in, I go back that way and it's going to be sitting over here to my right, so I'm going to see it. I back into my parking spot, well, I get in my vehicle every morning, what do I see? You know, I mean, it's a residence to me. I know it's not zoned that right now. That's commercial, that's why he's here, because he's trying to do things for the school. But how much industry do I want around my house? Do I want to be the last standing soldier when, you know, I got a grocery store going up here, or, well, you know, gas station right next to me? No, I don't. I don't want that. You know? So I object on that aspect of the tower. Everything else, I'm cool with.
Okay.
So I approve, you know, the other two.
Right. Yeah, no objections. Okay.
So that's me.
All right.
Any further questions for him before he gets down? No. Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
May I ask you,
Okay.
objection about-
Can you come up to the microphone just so we?
I'm wondering what's the objection about the existence of it, the height?
It's pretty much like I was stating, is I'm in a residence, you know, in a residential area. I've been there for years. I've watched Concord just expand, you know, tremendously. You know, the year I left the Auburn Career Center after I graduated was the first year they did the expansion in the back. So that gives you any indication of how long I've lived in Concord, or I've been in Concord. You know, I was young at that time. You know, I really, I graduated when I was 17. 2 days after my 18th birthday, I was on an airplane going to Great Lakes, Illinois. You know, I was gone for 5 years in the military. But You know, so I've seen, you know, I mean, I hate to use it as, you know, feel like an old guy because I sit here and just like, yeah, back in the day, you know, I remember, you know, all my neighbors growing up, but now it's just the look of it. You know, if it was, I could deal more with a barn than just a skeleton of a tower. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, that's all it is, a skeleton.
Do you prefer to see it out of wood? Or you mean barn?
Do you understand that he can rightfully, without any variances at all, build that tower 25 feet? So just 10 feet.
No, I understand.
Okay, I just want to know.
It's going to be in the back, but at 25 foot, you know, I have less chance of seeing it. I mean, like I said, I support the firefighters because I am one. You know, and I want them to get to the training, and I'd love to see, you know, work with some of these guys some of these days because they're great kids at the time, or, you know, the ones that are coming through and some of the older ones, you know. I'd like to pass my knowledge on to them and also even, you know, invite them to go down to Texas with us when we go down to Texas to do all of our training down, you know, in the middle of July, or 10th. Weather, but, you know, I enjoy it, I love it. You know, I did it in the military, I'm doing it out here, you know, I support it, but I just don't want the resident portion to get lost in skeleton style structure, you know? I mean, hide behind a couple trees, make it kind of flow into it, you know, just blend it into what's there already.
That's what I was gonna ask. There's existing trees back here. Are any of these, do you think, will stay on the Auburn property?
Yes.
I know there's trees on the residential property, but you know, or do you think any of these trees will remain once this pad gets constructed?
I mean, that's a good point. The tower, by, you know, we tucked it in the back, so there's quite a bit of a tree line surrounding the tower that have some blockage really from visibility. I'm not sure really if you stand in the house whether you can see it, but I'm sure when you step out of the house, you're gonna see this thing sticking out in the air, obviously. We could consider some more landscaping, but I'm not sure by.
Yeah, new landscaping isn't gonna help, right? They're not gonna screen a 30-foot tower. But I'm just wondering.
There's currently tree line it's even much higher than the tower.
Right, that's what I agree. So I think there's a tree line that's much higher than the top. My question is, do you think we could try to maintain, instead of clearing all this stuff outside of the pad, you know, if you said we cleared, I don't know what this dimension is from the property line to the pad, maybe it's, I don't know, 20 feet or so, can we keep 10-foot line along the property line, so we try to save some trees?
I'm gonna take a look at that one more time, see what tree, you know, intruding into the training pad at that point, and maintain some of that so we could have the blockage.
I like, when you guys go into planning commission and the zoning next week or next month, if you could have an idea, you know, better idea maybe on the grading, how far you guys are grading, and if there's trees that maybe you can maintain. Sure. I think that would be beneficial to the township and to the residents if they could see that.
Sure. You're more than welcome to stop over and, you know, we can walk the property line and we can like maybe kind of come to a little bit of an agreement on this also. I mean, like I said, I'm trying to be easy, you know.
What's the acreage on your property?
It's 2.58, something like that, almost 3 acres. Or 6 acres.
And when your parents lived there 30 years ago?
No, they bought that thing over 30 years ago.
And was Auburn there? Was the Career Center there or any part of it?
It was, but it was literally just that part that's across the street. The stuff behind it, it literally was just the auto repair, electronics. I mean, it was just that small little thing.
Right.
And then they built the daycare center in the back, and then they built the, actually it was the one across the street, and then they did the HVAC over there.
Yeah.
Even the horticulture building was actually in the part that's on this side where the main campus is. And then they built the bridge across the ravine back there, and built back there.
Wow. 30 years. One time.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Does anyone else have any further questions? No? Okay. All right, and then if there's no one else, then the public hearing for variance number 2021-90 is now closed to the public. Did I get them? Oh, so we're gonna do all of these variances. So first, can I get first we're gonna go variance number 2021-90. HSB Architects and Engineers is requesting a variance from section 13.10C to allow the building to be located 20.3 feet from the abutting property line below the 50 feet required at 8159 Palmer Road. Can I get a motion for that one?
Second.
Any discussion?
It's an existing building, it's been there.
Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes?
Mr. Golding?
Yes.
Mr. Valente?
Yes. Next is seeing variance 2021-90 HSB Architects for the same property. And the second variance is requested from section 13.10E to allow the access drive to be located 12 feet from the abutting property line in lieu of the minimum 20 feet required. Get a motion for this one.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion on this? I get why they're here, get them all at once if they need to have it.
Again,
It sounds like they're
it's an
uncertain.
existing- It's been there, it's been 12 feet from the property line all along. Hopefully they can get their second choice now.
Okay. All right, Heather, please call the vote for the second variance.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes?
Mr. Golding?
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Valente?
Yes. Okay, next is variance 2021-90 HSB Architects for the same property. A third variance is requested from section 15.04B, table 15.04-1 to allow accessory structure to be 35 feet in height in lieu of the maximum 20 feet required. Can I get a motion for this one?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion on this one?
Does anyone have any comments?
No? Okay. All right, if there's no discussion, Heather, could you please call the vote?
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes?
Mr. Golding?
Yes.
Mr. Valente?
Yes. Your third variance has also been approved. All right, thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you both.
Good luck next month. Please come to the zoning meeting next month as well.
Yeah.
To get here.
Is there a letter that goes out or something, or is that written down?
It's on the website.
Yeah.
Concord
Check the
Township
website. Okay.
Is there anything
For what it's
about
worth.
me too, as well, if you'd like? Mike, I'm Heather Fraser, the zoning inspector, I sent a letter. Or you can reach out to me and I can discuss it with you.
All right, next is approval of minutes. Do we have enough people here that can approve the minutes?
Yes. No.
Todd, Frank?
Anybody can approve, whether you're here or not.
Okay.
Any one person?
Any one person?
Anyone,
Still need three of
alright.
you. But it doesn't matter if you were at the meeting, you can
Oh.
still approve them as long as you read them.
Okay.
All right, well, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from June 9, 2021?
So moved. Second.
All right, is there any discussion regarding the minutes? Perfect as usual.
Perfect as usual. I mean, the transcription is
I mean,
flawless.
yeah. Is there any question?
All right. Can I get a vote to approve the minutes from June 9, 2021 as written? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, anyone want to abstain? No? Okay, so the minutes have been approved. Our next meeting is August 11th, 2021. The Concord Township Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for July is now closed.